Let's get it! Community.
He just opened double voice, son.
Double voice, son.
Strategy.
Man, dude, I almost got screwed over today because of that.
And technology.
So I think that we got a little CommanderCast connection there.
Maybe.
Tenuous at best.
CommanderCast.com.
Hello everyone, and welcome to CommanderCast, episode 247. Where are you?
Wait, are we starting?
Yes, that's right. We are starting. Hey everyone, this is CommanderCast, episode 247. Where are you?
Alright, I'm back. The baby's done.
Strategy and technology, hosted on mgcast.com and our home site, CommanderCast.com. Believe it or not, I am your host, William, and joining me are
Wait, you are?
Joining me are a couple of chuckleheads, Calvin, aka Captain Zone, and Clay, Commander Panda. How you guys doing?
I'm doing well. I've
I'm
got
not.
a babysitting my niece. If that qualifies as being negative, I guess that's about it.
So, Clay, you good? Good?
I'm not doing nothing.
You're not doing nothing?
Not doing nothing.
Alright. You're fine with it, right?
Yes.
Alright, good. Calvin's got a small child. Clay's got school all wrapped up. I have not good working Skype recorder, but kind of works. Calvin's calling me. So we're just gonna roll with this. We're recording this on May 12th, 2016. And guys, first thing that we have to go into, in fact, the favorite commanders of the week. Calvin, your favorite commander.
Ashen the Pilgrim and her 99 Mountains. Why? Because, as per usual, I haven't played. I'm boring. I'm a horrible commander player.
I'm actually right there with you. I was planning to do Commander Night this week, but then it turned into, hey, the girlfriend needs some help this week, so let's go ahead and help her. And then I could play Commander yesterday because yesterday was, hey, we need to get the new shelves set up, kind of re-clean the store and get everything tidy up, redo a bunch of stuff. So Commander has been limited to the album with Avacyn. Given that the last time I played that was when I was in the Homelands videos, there's not a whole lot to say about that.
Yeah, you heard it here first. There's not a lot to say about Homeland.
No, like there's even less to say about it than so, because like
There's nothing.
There's like 5 cards that were actually on Moto, and only 3 of them were ones I would consider, and one of them was functionally worse than a card I already had access to.
Alright then.
So Clay, who's your favorite?
Well, when we were cleaning out boxes when we were moving out of our, I think that I had lost track of for a couple months. I had for my Brago deck, and it was actually in a box. So I've been playing with Brago again because I actually where it is now.
So what you're saying is Brago's
Dick in a box.
Brago was out of existence for a while and finally came back. He break in the exile zone.
Incidentally, people at home, you hear Clay, getting all sketchy or break up, or it turns out there's a storm coming. And I'm gonna go. No, not yet. I don't want to lose our panda. So, yeah, there we go.
I mean, to be fair, it's already happening, so the thing much worse probably that high, but we'll find out.
We're gonna lose our Panda.
Yeah, how can it get famous like?
You know how things can get worse? I can tell you exactly how things can get worse. What episode number is this?
This is 247.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 247. Prepare yourself for another Dangly Bit episode. I'm doing this intro to the Dangly Bits just in case the rest of this call for some reason happens to die. So, if you're hearing the sound of this, then that means that somewhere along the line, something happened, and the show just didn't become a show.
The Skype
So sit back, relax,
recorder
and enjoy these bits.
stopped working.
Yeah, Skype recorder stopped working. Clay died randomly in a mysterious way. William's recorder decided it wanted to just throw everything all to shit. So sit back, relax, and enjoy these dangles as they fit into your mouth.
Alrighty then. So then, to finish off this particular opening that we do every week, my favorite commanders will be the Master Wanderer. Why? Because I have the new cards from Innistrad finally, and I want to start tuning them up. But I realized I don't actually know where my shit is. So I finally took Calvin's device, shoved all these cards into shoeboxes, and now I'm going to go through and sort them all. I'm going to be my whole weekend sorting through cards, find the stuff I want to put into them. And then after that, I'm going to puka trade the rest of it. Other cards. God damn, I have way too many.
Cool.
Alright.
Yeah.
So, guys, here at CommanderCast.com, we rely on patrons like you to help keep us going. We're hosting site, pay for video projects that money, buy cards, or you know where you can support us? Patreon. Patreon with CommanderCast. Over there, you can go ahead and you can become Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and lower this down to $3 tier. I'm actually going to lower it to $3 tier, where if you're at $3, you can go ahead, vote on, and nominate different topics, do a monthly community choice episode of every month. Right now, at the time of this recording, I put up the post for the community segment, but we need some more interaction for that, so I thought I'd lower the barrier to that, so that a lot more people, come on, get their input in, and help make a basic episode. Yeah. But if you don't want to donate $8, then you know what? You can always donate a single. That's just the tip.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Just the tip. A single dollar into the CommanderCast. You can give us the tip. And just a tip. But if a little extra happens to slip in, we're not going to complain. We have a tier for that as well. It's called a little bit extra. It's $2 tier, isn't it?
Yep.
So now we have something for you for $1. You can slip us tip. Or you can give us a little bit extra. Or now at $3, you can go right ahead and have something that you want talked about on the show. Is there a particular topic that you want us to discuss? A particular card? A particular, set that you want us to discuss? Hey, maybe you want us to talk about how to build a particular deck. We'll do it for $3.
All right.
But there's also other tiers to this as well. So William's kind of adjusting the tiers around. So I don't know what's going on Patreon. But by the time you hear this, you'll know what's going on Patreon. Why? Because you'll be over there donating, or at least looking at what you could donate, and then contemplating how much of your money you want to throw at us.
Yep, all this and more. And if you want to leave us a comment, go ahead and hit us up on the Facebook page, on the Twitters, and on our main website, CommanderCast.com. You can also hit us up on the Reddits. So let's go ahead and go straight into business, because I don't trust this recorder one bit. First, we're going to go into our community segment.
The recorder doesn't trust you.
Oh, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It thinks you're going to hang up on it.
Why would I hit up on the recorder? I need the recorder to
Because
work.
you're an ass.
Well, ass is just 3 parts of sass. So, community, we're going to go into a topic that a friend of mine actually proposed to help newer players learn Threads. Playing with open hands. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back. Yeah. And I actually...
Yay, we've made it through an intro, and we still have our panda.
We made it to the
Will
intro.
the panda still be? Will the panda still be here when we get to community? Stay tuned and find out.
So today on community, I want to talk about an idea that someone proposed, where we all play with our hands face up out in the open in order to help newer players win. So guys, I want to go ahead and ask what your thoughts. My initial question is, if they see the scary stuff in my hand, won't
Shut
I
up,
miss you,
anime character.
Navi.
Sure.
my thought is, if they see the scary thing in my hand, aren't they going to hit me anyway, regardless of what I actually have on the board? Or is that the actual points? What do you guys think?
So is this like a threat assessment concept, or is it like teaching a new player how to play concept?
This is a teaching new players threat assessment, which will be tangentially related to our strategy topic.
Okay. Now I have a better understanding of what you're trying to say. Continue, Clay. Clay?
Hold on, repeat. I was distracted
By what?
by the
Splatoon.
internet.
So the question is, what do you think of playing with your hand open in order to help new players?
I mean, the answer to if it's a teaching new players thing or a threat assessment.
It's both. It's teaching new players how to handle threat assessment. The premise of this is...
Okay.
Basically, the premise here is that when you have a new player and you have cards out on the field, they might not realize that just because the field looks a certain way, that their opponents could actually still be dangerous. Like, say, for instance, it's like you look over, the opponent has, like, a hand, he only has his land, but he has no creatures, no real enchantments, and, 4 cards in hand. What could he possibly be doing? Oh, he's over there assembling the Doctor Foundry combo, and all he really needs is just enough mana to play it. He can just do it on the same turn and get it to go off and instantly win. Gotcha. So the premise here is just to have players play with their hands open. So this way, new players can kind of get a better idea of just because the board looks one way, it might be something else. Sorry.
It's not something I in a really long aside from playing something like a Revelation in a group hug deck, which I did. It's a funny card. It's telepathy, but it was well. And I think it's good for helping teach players just like not every card is on the board. You need to always be thinking about what your opponents might have in hand, but I think really you definitely need wean off because a lot of Magic comes down to mind games and bluffing. what you may or may not have. Do you have the end you need? Does your opponent play around anything? It's the same reason that we teach players, like, when you're game, you don't last land. That's because your opponent might think that stops them.
What was that last bit, Clay? You kind of broke up.
Of the reason that, like, yes, it's good to start with revealed hand, like teach player card and just be thinking about what players have in hand. But it takes the game aspect out, in that we want people to keep a land in hand but on the board already instead of playing it when they have cards in hand, except for that, because you could just bluff a Sonic Rift or thing that keeps it from actually swinging into you even when you actually have anything. So it takes complexity out of it, but that complexity is also what makes the game much more mental than just evaluating on the board.
So, Kevin, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, for me, it's one of those. For me, my issue for it is I'm not really sure exactly like where are we talking about doing this at,
Well,
because
do you mean like
the thing
physical?
for me, not like right. See, the thing here is that when I initially started playing Magic the Gathering, this was a part of the teaching tools that was actually implemented. You kind of played with your hand open for like the first few games and stuff, just to get like a better idea of what was going on, how to actually play, who could cast what, when, and things like that as a part of the learning curve, right? So like the idea for me is that threat assessment by playing with the open hand for newer players has kind of always been the way the game technically should start, because for me that's kind of how it always has been when it started. If you see what I'm saying?
Kind of.
Like it's one of those. It's like you're asking me. It's almost like you're asking me. Like if I put like checker pieces on a checkerboard, do I how you're basically asking me like how to start a game, when for me it's always been like a part of the initial starting teaching rule.
All right.
So it's like if you're asking me if this is something we should do, my answer automatically is like yes, because it's something I've always had done. And even when I teach Magic to new players, I do it that way as well.
All right.
When I teach it to my son, that's how I do it.
Then,
I mean, I don't know if he ever gets the concept of threat assessment out of it, because, it's like, I'm teaching you how to play the game. But in the same token, it's kind of up to you to start realizing, what a threat assessment basically is.
all right. So using checker, let's pretend that the equivalent of this is, you kind of constantly remind them where your checker can take or where they can some of that. Like you help them see, okay, you move this piece, that can jump this one, this. It's like when you play like a game of computer chess. Sometimes the program will tell you, hey, if you put this piece here, in danger of being taken from these pieces, kind of like that.
Oh, no, I get that. I mean, I fully understand what we're saying and what we're talking about. But for me, like, okay, when we're saying newer players, are we talking about like newer players in a just Commander, like people who play like limited or standard, but this is like their first time playing like Commander, so they can get like a better threat assessment or whatever? Because if that's the case, then for me, then they technically should already know threat assessment, because they're coming from a format that involves games.
We're talking about newer in the sense of maybe they're newer to the play group, or maybe they've played, like kitchen table Magic, stuff like that. But they haven't really dealt with, like politics, or, maybe this play group. For example, when I started playing, my first real play group, one of the things I did was I always focused on my roommate, the guy who's now my roommate. Because, we all perceived him as the best player. It was always, okay, we attack Tyler always, because somehow he's always winning, and, his decks are always good. So he ends up getting beaten down. And then when we do focus on him, someone else wins because we weren't paying attention to their board, or we were focusing all of our energy towards Tyler. But when we didn't focus on Tyler, and we actually tried to, do other things, kill other people, then he won. So it became this back and forth of, okay, we focus Tyler because otherwise he'll win. Okay, he hasn't been winning or he hasn't been fun, let's go ahead and back off. And, Tyler just actually crushed us all. And so newer players
Well, I think that's kind of a problem for your own group.
No, that absolutely is.
Right. And I was about to say that as well, because like if that's what your group is going through, an open hand isn't really going to help that.
No, it's not.
No.
But that's why I think part of what my friend's suggesting, hey, let's do it in hand so that they can learn. No, you don't have to focus. You don't have to, ignore this person, but you don't have to focus them out of existence. You have to learn how to, look at the pieces that they need or what they're doing, so that you give them just the right amount of attention, rather than just being, okay, I'm going to attack you time because you're this player.
Well, I'm gonna revise revise my stance on this then. If you're teaching more players how to play a game of Magic, it's, I think, open fine. But personally, I like learning how to do politics or learning a new play group in Commander. You just have to throw them. They just have to pick it themselves. There is no reason to reveal hands when they know how to fend for themselves in a new environment. If they already know how to play, then they should be able to figure out play the mind games that go with multiplayer politics. Because that's something you can't really teach by having open hands.
Okay.
All you're saying with that is, oh, you think this person always answers. But hey, they don't in this particular game, and these people are also a problem. But they probably would have found out that the others were a problem over the game anyway.
There's also the idea that these people that we're trying to teach aren't new, they're just bad.
Still. They gotta learn the hard way.
Right, but that's the thing. Like, if they're bad, doing it with an open hand isn't really going to be doing much anyway. I mean, think of it. Like, quite frankly, if you're talking about just doing the open hand because you want to try to help bad players learn how to play better, then you're basically not saying that you're doing it because, you know, trying to teach them the politics. You're pretty much just trying to teach them how to play in general. Now, if it's one of those things, it's like I'm trying to show you one of the core mechanics of this game. Apparently, somewhere along the lines while you were playing, it may have like been miscommunicated or misunderstood exactly what to do in this particular scenario. So we're going to do the open hand thing so we can give you a better idea of what to do. But if that's the case, you're kind of just like reteaching them how to play Magic. It's not like you're doing it for threat assessment or anything like that. You're kind of basically showing them the way that this game is supposed to be played. Now, I could understand it if it's like, if they're brand new to Commander, they've never played in a multiplayer format, they've never done anything like that, and the idea of the politics and whatever the case may be is kind of new to them. Then yeah, I can understand like maybe doing like 1 or 2 games just to kind of give them an idea of what could happen or what's going on, you know? But not like as like a continuous thing. It's more like, and even in that situation, if they play Magic, then there should really be no reason to have to do the open hand for it because they play Magic. Only difference is you just kind of have to teach them how to be more open to getting assistance from somebody or not trusting somebody.
You have to be more aware of what others are doing when you're playing with more than one opponent.
Right. Because when you have like, because in most,
they just have to.
Hold on.
This way?
Yeah, because like in most formats, it's basically like you're playing against your opponent and it's just you and them, so you don't have to trust them. Unless, of course, you're just trusting that they're an asshole because they're trying to kill you, because that's guaranteed. It's 1v1. The only reason I would even see doing something like this would be in a multiplayer, just to kind of give them the idea that, yes, everyone here is trying to kill you, but you can use the fact that they can't kill you right now to your advantage and get them to assist you in taking care of somebody else.
Yes.
But even still, like that just, to me, just seems more like something you could do without an open hand. The open hand for me would just mostly be like, if it's a brand new player, someone who's never played Magic, and the format you're teaching them how to play Magic in is Commander.
But why would you do that is another question.
That is actually perfect. Alright then. So, this is one where I actually want to hear more from you guys at home. I went ahead and posted something, kind of bringing this up on the Facebook page. So if you want to find that and go ahead and, get some more feedback about that, hit us up on the Twitters, please do so. Next up, we're going to go into our strategy segment. And we actually are going to talk about threat assessment at the top itself. So stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back.
Assess the threats. Is that a threat to you? Are you assessing it? Good. Now you're threat assessing. You can see a threat, assessing a threat. You're letting that threat know, hey, threat, I see you, and I assess you.
What?
Threat assessment.
Okay.
Like, hey there, threat. I completely acknowledge your presence, and now I'm going to assess you.
Yes.
Like, has your threats been properly assessed? No? Get on the ball. Start assessing those threats, because those threats ain't going to assess themselves.
Okay. So let's go ahead and just go. our strategy segment today, we're going to go ahead and talk about threat assessment. That is to say, learning how to identify what needs to be taken out on the field, figuring out when and where to use your removal, and maybe figuring out if someone at the table needs aggroed a little harder than maybe some of the others.
That's right.
Yep.
Do they need to be assessed? Time to do some assessing.
All right. So my prime example, I'm recording the alpha for Avison. We've got, Erebos Patrol, we've got Green Omnath, and then we've got Red Green Omnath. We've got like double Omnath here. I've got down a moat, nobody can attack. But this whole game, Erebos is just focusing Red Green Omnath down, constantly discarding. It's like watching a commander version of modern miserable. Like, he's only got like 3 lands, he's not being allowed to draw anything. It's actually kind of amazing how many discard tricks this Erebos player had. So, in this instance, I know Red-Green player is, kind of neutralized already. He's only got 3 lands, he's got no hand, nothing coming out here unless he starts top decking. And I do kind of want him to start getting game. Erebos, on the other hand, is focusing way hard on Red-Green Omnath. But, if I start he doesn't really have anything outside of Erebos on the field that's going to cause problems. So, okay. And then there's Green Omnath. Let me tell you about this fucker. This guy is just floating mana every turn. He's got his boots on the Omnath, so no one's gonna touch him. He's got something that'll double his mana, and he's just floating mana. Floating a lot of mana. Like at one point he had over 120 mana.
Would you say he's building hella mana?
He's building hella mana. That's absolutely correct.
That's
and I go,
a lot of mana.
that is a lot of mana. And this, of course, Omnath, he's only got like 1 or 2 cards in his. But in that scenario, he's the one who's the scariest. So what I do, I start poking him with Avison over and over. And I'm glad I did. Because before she was able to get the last hit in, someone the Erebos player basically, which I was kind of confused by because, scary Green Omnath thing.
Yeah, but Avison's about to take out the scary Green Omnath thing. So if you think about it, what's more scarier, Godzilla or the thing that's literally about to kill Godzilla?
But see, here's the thing. 1, this is Avison Guardian, people widely regard as not that. 2, I am also running on empty as far as cards in my hand. Erebos has hit me with a discard spell once or twice. He got rid of my Wrath, made a little bit of spot removal, whatever. I've got no cards in hand. Everything I have is directly on the board. I've only got like Avison, a banding guy who can't moat out, and that's literally it. So Avison is prevented from dealing the final blow to this Green Omnath. You won't know what happens after that. The Green Omnath player top decks into Eye of Ugin and starts chaining together a large amount of Eldrazi, including New Olamog, Kozilek, a bunch of other stuff, Feast of Famine, so they untap his lands, Bear Umbra. He starts using that temple over and over again, using that huge-ass store of mana. He's been saving up on that. And he wins in very short order. And, the Erebos player just didn't have any answer for why he killed Avison rather than deal with Omnath. Because I was literally the only one dealing with Omnath. So that becomes, part of the topic of, okay, am I really scared of the thing that's about to kill Godzilla? Or should I just let them kill Godzilla?
You should let them just kill Godzilla if you already kill the thing that killed Godzilla. There's no reason to leave Godzilla alive when you can go ahead and kill what's killing him before it can kill you. That is that situation as it was presented.
With that situation, the way Clay's presenting it, I agree with totally, because it's kind of like a game of rock, paper, scissors, Like, yeah, there's a rock, and you're the scissors, and the rock is about to kill you, but paper can easily deal with it. Granted, you can take care of paper, but why don't you let paper take care of that rock first, and then deal with paper? Because once you get rid of paper, now you've got nothing that's going to stop the rock.
Then the rock kills it.
Dwayne The Rock, wrestling reference. Boom.
Yeah.
Snuck one in there.
So, guys, question. What are some of the things that you try and keep in mind when you're trying to figure out who you need to save room for, who you're pointing what at, what's going on there?
Clay, what's your thing? Because my thing is I'm typically pointing everything at everyone. Actually, my threat assessment is everyone's a threat.
Well,
Kill everyone.
That is one incredibly vast interpretation of threat assessment, is just kill everyone before they can kill you. That is very red of you. But my version of threat assessment basically boils down to the type of deck my opponents are playing. Knowing what could be in there if I often know which cards are in there. Figuring out how close they are to actually being a threat to my actions in the game, which, depending on the player, is often very high. And just knowing what they could possibly draw into be harmful. Like, just out what needs to be dealt with, of course. Like, if someone has a piece or two of an infinite combo on the board, like, that needs to be dealt with. As a Taurer that's just counters that needs to be dealt with. And has a fucking Ismagus on the board that needs to be dealt with. There's a lot of things that just dealt with. Almost every game needs to be, but the point of assessment is to figure out which things need to be dealt with now, and which ones can be dealt with later. So, taking into account what ones might have, and what they could possibly draw in, and how close, and if a specific draw would, if like they are one away from just killing the table, probably especially glaring case on the board.
So then, how would you negotiate, some of the threat assessment? You get to that point where, like my interaction with the Airbus player, you want to be able to take out some of the stuff, but you know that you're not equipped to deal with it. It's one of those things where you're pressed between, okay, that needs to be dealt with, but I can't handle the backlash.
Randomness. Be like, you're a threat. You need to be dealt with. Oh, no, you're a threat. You need to be dealt with. Oh, no, he's a threat. He really needs to be dealt with. And then,
the politics.
I'm just
PDH is a thing because you can connect other people with the threats that threaten you by them that it also threatens them, even if it does. I'm trying to think of a anecdote of sort. Yesterday actually was playing a game with C where I didn't really have much going for me. I had a couple things going on. I had a couple of zombies and a couple of black men I could use attrition to several things every round. And basically I ended up trying to convince people to focus on people who were bigger threats than us, but also under the pull of it being like, if you not deal with it, I will shoot your guy, you will still die to them.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I wasn't doing much in that game anyway, but it was what I could do. The threat of having blown up, my contribution to the threat level on the board can help other people realize people's threat levels. That's enough. We can look at it. Like, it's hard to define it, but kind of each of your opponent and yourself threat level based on what you know can do, what their commander does have on the board, seen them play all, and just knowing when their level is high enough, actually need to deal with it. It is a fine art, cannot be discussed in an episode of that. I don't know if it can be fully best ever. It's just something that you kind of learn as you play.
Gavin, you don't have something to add?
Okay, so in all seriousness, I'm going to stop playing around. Clay is hitting the nail right on the head. As far as, threat assessment is concerned, it is something that you typically will have to, kind of learn on your own. Given William's example of his play group having the one player that's the best player in the group, and everybody focuses on him, then suddenly he's not the best player in the group because everybody's keeping him from winning. But then they kind of forget about him, and next thing you know, he's winning again. It's just kind of one of those things where, with that particular situation, you just kind of have to find the right balance. You have to start realizing, what type of decks is he playing? What type of win conditions does he typically prefer to use? Looking at the board. Okay, is the board currently set up in a way that would typically lead for him to win? Okay, so now maybe I should start paying some attention to him, as opposed to just completely ignoring him for the remainder of the entire game just because the first, 4 or 5 turns he wasn't doing anything of importance. And it's kind of one of those, you just kind of have to find that balance, because if you don't, then you kind of always end up in that weird state where your games only end in 2 ways, where either A, the entire table is trying to keep him from playing and somebody wins randomly, or B, nobody's focusing on him and he wins. And if you're trying to do a good threat assessment and you're in a play group, one of the things you may want to try in that particular scenario, William, would be, okay, yes, he's the best player. I understand that everybody's focusing on him. So for a couple games, I'm not going to focus on anybody. I'm just going to kind of sit back and see how the game plays, because I know everybody at the table is trying to take him out anyhow. And then try to see if you can figure out a way to get a win out of those scenarios where everybody is focusing on him, so you can try to be the one who gets the win in that scenario. And then during the games where people aren't paying attention to him, then you can start trying to see if there's something you can do to either A, stop him from winning so that you can win, or B, try to see if there's some type of way you can convince other players to turn it back into the game where
everybody is focusing.
Now, see, it's interesting that you say that because actually more or less how I developed my current style of commander, which is, okay, we're going to sit back, try and hold, build resources that aren't inherently threatening, or if they are, just kind of accept the fact that they could move, and let other people build their resources and get further ahead than you. Because, when you're playing multiplayer, one of the things to mind is that it's best to stay second, third, because then the person ahead of you is the one that gets hit with the shell.
Yes.
So, people start focusing on them. I might help out if I need to. I get those moments where I go, okay, that has to be dealt with. But for the most part, I'm fine with people playing their game because I know that that's going to, demand that everyone else deal with them and free resources for, when they want to deal with me. And so win-win's a scenario. They get to play Commander, they get to have fun doing whatever it is they want, and I get to, hopefully pull out ahead because people are less focused.
So it's kind of like the tortoise and the hare in this scenario, where it's kind of better for you to, take your time, not try to rush, not try to become the person who is ahead, because then everybody's going to try to take you out because you're at the beginning of the race and you're trying to outrun everybody. And you may end up accidentally, burning yourself out before you're ready to actually win.
Right, but by that same token, absolutely have to know what can and can't afford to let sit on the board. Like a Luminar Ascension, you absolutely get that off of getting enough counters. It could just overwhelm everyone with it, and then no way to actually. If you're familiar with their combo piece, you know that you can get out the possibilities from playing a Mishra deck. And that's really where your threat assessment.
And learning what is threatening about other people.
And knowing is half the battle.
Jose.
The other half is actually with them.
Arriba. Alright, so that being said, guys, are there any other, tips or pointers that you would want to, help people with if they want to learn about threat assessment? Like maybe particular types of threats that you need to look out for, or things that might look threatening but actually aren't?
Well,
Innocuous combo
okay.
pieces. Things that don't look like a part of a combo, but also are why are you playing a card if it's not part of a combo? Thing like if someone's playing Experiment Crotch and you see that an Elvish Aberrate sort of thing. Things that don't seem to make sense on their own could possibly combo else are always something you should watch out for.
And in that vein, you also have to kind of get the, if you're doing threat assessment and this is a regular play group, if this is your regular play group, then you would need to start doing player assessment. Because, say for instance, in the instance where you have a person who is playing Experiment Crotch, yes, Experiment Crotch kind of combos with a whole bunch of different cards, and next thing you know, it could just be this huge combo engine that instantly wins. But if you're in a play group and you kind of realize that, say, William is using Experiment Crotch, not because he wants to use Experiment Crotch, but because it's the only blue-green commander he has, and his deck doesn't really use Crotch for it, then Crotch's threat assessment level kind of goes down because you know how William is supposedly playing.
Yeah.
It becomes a nice, you kind of have to evaluate what's on the board, but you also have to evaluate the players themselves. Say for instance, everybody knows that I'm more of an aggro player and I'm an aggressive player. If I happen to have a card that's on the board that looks like it's a part of a major combo piece, chances are it's probably not there for a combo. It's probably there because I kind of just needed it for what it actually does. Ashnod's Altar. It's probably not there for some type of infinite combo that's going to give me infinite mana. It's probably just there as a way to generate extra mana in a deck that typically doesn't have access to that mana. Occasionally, yes, it will be a part of a combo piece. Yes, occasionally it will be something I might use for a combo deck. But if you know that the person you're playing against isn't a typical combo player, they're only doing it randomly or on occasion, then you'll see a combo piece and it's okay, well, there's a very high chance that it's not there for a combo. But then once you see Ashnod's Altar, and then you see Marath hit the board, and you see mana starting to generate so that the player can start trying to go off and make infinite tokens or infinite burn outlets or whatever, then this would be a good chance to start trying to figure out a way to stop it. But an Ashnod's Altar, besides I don't know, just a Ashton the Pilgrim deck, there it's probably just used for mana. Or as a nice way to sacrifice Ashling so she doesn't end up in some type of purgatory or pacifism style effect or whatever the case may be.
So my general tips are going to be, you definitely want to
Just a tip. If a little extra happens to slip in, we're not going to complain.
No, we're not. But here's the thing. So, with threat assessment, the things that I typically try and get off are the things that I know get out of hand if it gets one turn around. Because I don't really communicate with players in terms of, hey, can you get rid of this for me? Then I'll do this for you. I don't really do that like the offer want to. But in general, if I see something like Rexian Altar, or Life, or Luminarch Ascension, or anything like that, one of those cards that I know if they untap with, they're going to be really far ahead, then I try and snipe it as quickly as possible. Anything that's part of it, just anything like that, those tend to be crucial pieces that if you snipe them early enough, then they can still build resources, but they can't get as far ahead as they thought they would. But that's just my take on it.
And in the process, and in the vein of like discussing like combos and all these like cards and stuff like that, like if you know a particular player and you know that their resources are limited as far as like financial and whatever the case may be, or there's a particular card combination that they kind of lean towards because they have it, then it's probably be a good idea to start like paying close attention to what combos that player has available to them so that you can start being prepared to deal with those particular combos. Not necessarily saying you have to learn every combo in the game, but say for instance you have a person who plays Doctor Assembly and Sword of the Meek and he repeatedly uses it because he's a blue-black player and he likes playing with Doctor Assembly and whatever the case may be. Or it just happens to be like the one combo he happens to continuously use. Then yeah, now you might want to start preparing yourself to deal with a Sword of the Meek once it's in the graveyard, or find a way to deal with a Thopter Assembly or Thopter Foundry or whatever the case may be to kind of get rid of it. Because if it's the main and potentially like one of the only combos that they use, then yeah, you kind of want to get dealing.
Alright, so guys,
Fair.
anything else before we move on?
Learn how to threat assess. It will make your life and the play group more.
So are you telling people...
Yes.
Just get good.
Yes, I am.
That's what I said. Get good. You won't be having
Words
these
of
problems if you were good.
Alright then. So, that wraps up our topic about threat assessment. Next up, we're going to go on to our technology segment, and we're going to pay an homage to a podcast I like quite a bit, and we're going to do an old versus new. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back.
So I'm going through a bunch of boxes trying to find a bunch of sleeves to sleeve up like a set of lands, and I'm like way from having 75, and I'm really annoyed about where the rest of these sleeves are.
Okay, 'cause I was just about to ask that, because I kept hearing like a box going, like moving around and stuff, and I was about to blame William.
Alright, how dare
I mean, it might be William. It might also be me.
Like, William, you asshole.
How dare I open boxes and stuff? You
And
realize how
things, stuff.
And
Stuff
things.
and things.
you realize like how much of a jerk that would make?
Not much of a jerk. I mean, you know, basically everybody on this podcast has done it except for like Mark.
Alright, so when we went back to Innistrad, of course, one of the things that they had to deliver was a new Olivia Voldaren. Olivia is kind of a classic vampire, definitely one of the fan favorite, especially when you're building like the Herpter Black-Red Trouble Vampires deck, which I personally, I don't know, maybe the Twilight is. But with Olivia, you had a very powerful commander that a lot of people were afraid of because they didn't want her stealing the shit. The new Olivia, well, you get someone who's actually got some very nice aggro built, as I saw firsthand when I was recording the album. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and compare and contrast Olivia Mobilized for War versus Olivia Voldaren. So let's go ahead and start with original Olivia. What do you think her strongest attribute is?
Her third leg.
That third leg, there was no third leg. Her leg's actually incredible. I have to say, from an actual playing standpoint, just the fact that if you let it on the board, it just takes over the game. Like, incredibly quickly, you can just, whatever your opponent had, use it yourself, and there is no reason to untap with an Olivia. That is proper threat assessment.
So Kevin, what do you feel Olivia's best at this?
Her mana cost. Because when you read the card, it always feels like if you just like take the cost off, you actually like read the text, looked at the power, kind of got like the idea for it, it automatically like rose to your head at like, I think, what is it, like 5? But when you then get the card, you realize it's not 5, it's 4.
She actually does cost 4.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like read the, right, listener, ignore the fact that I just, like, you know what the cost is now. Just read off what she does, William.
Let's see. So Olivia, the original one, is a 4-cost 3/3 flyer that has for 2 mana she deals 1 damage to another target creature. That creature becomes a vampire in addition to its other types, and she gets 1 more counter. But then you've got her second ability, which is 3 black. Gain control of target vampire for as long as you control Olivia Valdera.
So, just thinking about that, right? You have a creature, 3/3, has flying, has an ability to become bigger. So it could be like a 4/4 or a 5/5.
And stuff.
Shoot stuff down. But then anything it doesn't, like, kill, it could just steal. See, that's the kind of effect that you would expect on, like, maybe a 5-drop or a 6-drop. Because that's a lot of things going on one particular card. Not only is it capable of just beating your face in and making it so it's like, you can build a deck around it where you just pump her up and get her in like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, get a whole bunch of counters on her or whatever the case may be, and then just kill your opponent that way. Or you could build a deck where you're using her as like a pinger and just knocking stuff off the board. Or you can build a deck where you're just like using her to steal things from your opponent. Like their biggest creature, their best threats, now your biggest creature, your best threat. Or you could build like a vampire tribal deck and use that stealing ability where it turns creatures into vampires, and now their biggest threat is not only your biggest threat, but it's even better because it's a vampire on top of that. None of that says 4 cost. Yet somehow, she's 4.
She was aggressively cost,
That's one way
to say the least.
Alright, so...
Everybody's still...
Yeah, we're still here. Just like
Okay, it just kind of like died there for a second.
I didn't die. You died. Alright.
No, that's because I'm like I told you, I'm babysitting. I had to mute and go yell at a child.
Alright, so then let's
That's
compare
kind of
that...
conversation to go on without me.
Alright, so let's compare that to Olivia Mobilized for What's her biggest strength? Is it the fact that she's like a whole mana less, she's still that size? Or is there other, there's some other things about that, right?
Okay, so for the new Olivia, alright, William, ignore the cost, read her off.
So, she's a flyer. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may discard a card. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on that creature. It gains haste until end turn, and it becomes a vampire.
So we're turning more things into vamps, this time at the cost of discard a card. It enters the battlefield.
Yeah.
And what is her size?
Her size is 3/3.
Okay, so now we have a 3/3 flyer that, one, allows you to discard cards from your hands, which can go well with Madness and graveyard shenanigans and all that other stuff. You can just kind of like just randomly discard things as long as you're playing stuff. And it says whenever a creature enters the battlefield, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
So it doesn't even have to be your creature. If your opponent plays something, you'd be like,
no,
oh,
no,
good.
no, it's a creature under your control.
I asked before.
Yeah.
You said.
But I thought you were going in the lines of, oh, if I brought something back.
Okay, but still. If it just says a creature that you control, then fine. But still, like, you can get like something to come back from the graveyard and boom, discard something else. Like, if you discard blood gas and it's a vampire already anyway, boom, drop a land. Now blood gas shows up. Hey, blood gas came in. I'm going to use his effect now, and I'm going to discard this other creature that then comes back to the battlefield, like a reassembling skeleton for whatever reason. Oh, look, it's back. Now I get to discard something else. So you're not really losing anything, and everything is kind of getting bigger and gaining haste, and they're all vampires. So now, like, even with this particular version, it's kind of like the same thing as the other one. This effect does not seem like something you would be getting for 3 mana, but you do. I'm just kind of waiting for us to go back to Innistrad again and then run into an Olivia that should cost 3 mana, but for some reason it's like 2. And inevitably we'll get a Olivia that costs, a legendary Olivia that costs 0, but does something like that you should not be getting for no cost.
Eventually.
And chances are she'll still be a 3/3.
Alright, so that, guys, the aggro with Olivia, very, very weak. Just being able to say, okay, here's a big 6/6, I'm going to discard, just random thing, and now suddenly it's hitting for 7. One more than what it originally was, and out of nowhere. That is some
Yes.
real punch to the power.
Yes. All I can say is yes.
So then, let's go ahead and look at their weakness. What was the worst thing about first Olivia?
Her third leg.
I don't know if there really is anything bad about OG Olivia. Like, honestly, she was aggressively costed, had incredibly relevant keys, can take over the game by herself. I honestly see no downside, except for the fact that she doesn't cost 2 mana.
Like, the only downside about her is that she wasn't even more aggressively costed.
Correct.
So for me, when I was playing
First
Olivia,
card, it wasn't better.
the downside was that even though her abilities are amazing, they do have a lot of mana. If you wanted to steal something that turn, that was 7 mana. And those are colors where you have to kind of specifically tailor it to have ways to pull out more mana. You can go ahead and play Herborg, play stuff like Crypt Gas, and other mana doublers, and super easy to do that. But one, we're talking about threat assist. Those are high targets if you're looking at threats. Stuff that doubles mana. Those are things that you kind of wipe out. Because as soon as they have access to that mana, it doesn't matter if you got rid of them or not, because they're already casting their spells. When it comes to Olivia herself, she also has a higher target because those abilities are so powerful. And when you have to constantly play her, then not get the value out of her. Ideally, go ahead, drop her on turn 6, because there's 4 mana on her, 2 mana to put something. Next turn, you can go ahead and steal something. She has a setup cost, is the real thing. That's what she does say. She says you have to have a setup cost.
Yeah.
Right.
The
That's fair.
thing is, you have to remember that Olivia may only cost 4 mana, but she is definitely a late game card for a mid-range or a control. Like, she has an aggressive cost, but you'll almost never play 4 unless nothing else is happening. And you just wait until you have enough moves to destroy it with her.
That's more or less it. Like, don't get me wrong, Olivia is a fantastic card. She's still my commander. But when you play with her, you realize that you have to plan for, that game. Or at the very least, have the accelerators and enablers out to make her ability really powerful. Because even if, there's just one thing out, you can still just keep shooting stuff and go pew, 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 pew to make her stronger and try and make her a finisher by herself. But that's the other thing, that she's very parasitic. Vampires are. If she's by herself, a 3D flyer before doesn't...
Too bad she herself. That'd
Yeah.
be way too good. It's probably the only doubt is that she herself.
Like, I can't suck my own blood.
No, what do you think she is? Barbarian? Phew. Okay. Now, Olivia mobilized for war. What's her deal here?
Let's see. I would probably say, like, her biggest deal would be the fact that she has that whole discard thing going on. I mean, it's good, but if your deck doesn't happen to feed you the right cards at the right time, then it basically becomes, you could potentially just be destroying your own hand or messing up your own setup.
Well, the best thing is completely optional. Well, the best counter to not wanting to discard is not having to discard cards. Yes, it's a choice between giving your thing, making it bigger, or a card in hand, but that is completely up to you on make it.
I want to say yes, because Olivia, that's more of a setup cost with the original one. With the second one, yeah, that is a cost of activation, but that's actually one of those ones that's more easily built around. With the first one, it's just a straight up requirement. It's no, you have to be able to pay this large amount of mana if you want to start stealing. With Olivia Mobilized War, it's one of those build-arounds where you can actually turn it into a very powerful engine. Like you had, just something that would pull a card out of graveyard, like say a Shield. You go, okay, I'm going to discard...
Dawn of the Dead.
Well, Dawn of the Dead already gives it. Let's check that. Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, that already gives it. Because you exile it at the beginning. With something like Shieldred, or, if you're playing Mardu, Snail, or whatever, they bring back a creature, and then Olivia would let you discard a card to give that creature haste and a +1/+1. And with that card you discard, you can just set up Shieldred's next target, or any creature or effect that does something similar. So Olivia's cost and downside can be very easily turned into a very powerful for the deck. Whereas the first one, it's actually just cost. There's no way to make that.
Yeah, but that's kind of like what I was trying to get at. Because like with the original Olivia, it's like her downside is you want to use this card to its best ability, you better have a lot of mana. And if you don't have a lot of mana, you're not really using it right. With the second Olivia, it's here's this ability. It's basically quote unquote free, as long as you can figure out how to make it free. But if your deck isn't feeding you the right amount of cards, or you're not getting what you need, then you're kind of sitting there turn after turn doing nothing.
Turn after turn.
So it's one of those, it's like, you have to build your deck around it to make sure that it works. And with even the, slightest miscalculation on the right amount of madness spells, or creature return spells, or discard enablers and things of that nature, then, your deck ain't really doing anything. And then also in that scenario, if something were to happen to Olivia and she wasn't available to you, now your deck is kind of going to just flounder, because it's just going to just sit there by the wayside waiting for another discard outlet to kind of get the ball rolling correctly. So you really, really have to tune that deck correctly in order for it to work the way it needs to work.
All right then. So
don't you whoo me? I'll whoo you.
I'll whoo whoever I want to whoo.
Whoo!
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 Hooah!
Woo!
All right. So let's go ahead.
Woo!
All right then. So guys, Last question. Which one do you personally prefer? Because I don't want to get into, it's better next versus that one. That's not what this comes to. This one is, between these two, which one would you rather want to play as either a commander or in the other 99? Because there are arguments for how some of these can play at.
Well, as far as like, if it's just like as the other 99, if you're in red and black, I see no reason to not play both of them. They're both good. They're both relevant. They're both undercosted for what they do. They both do what they do very well. And if they're in the other 99 and what they're doing is something your deck could potentially use, there's no reason not to include them. Like with the original Olivia, if you're playing red and black and you have mana resources, there's no excuse for you not to have her in the other 99 because she could win you a game, become a big beater, steal your opponent's creatures, or kind of take other creatures out. There's no reason not to include her. Unless, of course, for some reason you just can't find some way to magically get access to 7 mana. Like, you're building a red-black deck that tops out at like 5 mana and doesn't even have more than like 5 lands in it. Now you got an excuse not to play it. But then again, you have bigger things to deal with because you got a deck that only got 5 lands. But if we're talking about like the second Olivia, like her too, is like if you are playing a deck that could use discard outlets or does have a graveyard resurrection thing going for it, there's no real reason not to play it unless, you're going with a particular theme that doesn't involve vampires or you just don't want to actively use it for one reason or another. And the cost for it is actually low enough where if you just played it as a 3/3 flyer for 3 mana, that's not that bad of an issue. You could be playing way worse. But if we're talking about like in comparison of like which commander you would use, like if you had to pick a commander and you had to choose one of these two, you can only pick one, which would you choose? For me, I think the one I would probably choose would probably be the original Olivia. Even though the second one is more aggressive, the fact that I would have to build an entire deck around her ability for her to work correctly would probably be something that would kind of deter me from playing with her. Whereas with the original Olivia, even if I don't build my deck completely around her ability, as long as I can get the mana needed to use her ability, it doesn't really matter. The deck itself can be whatever I choose for it to be. Whereas with the second one, I kind of have to go down this graveyard resurrection, potential discard outlet using path, in which case I would potentially get bored and just stop playing it. Unless, of course, that's the style of deck I was intending on making.
Fair.
So what about you?
Honestly, I probably would also choose the original Olivia, simply because I am much less playing such a style as the new one. Or if I wanted to build a black-red aggro deck, I would definitely play the new one. But personally, I would play OG.
Alright then, and as for me, I am sticking with OG Olivia. I saw the new one come out, and I thought she was pretty cool. But it's not exactly what I developed the Olivia deck I have for. The one that I developed for was basically inspired by my friend's Mariki Rebirth deck, where it's, okay, I'm going to control the board, but I'm also going to steal stuff and punch people back in their. And I thought that was great. So I liked Olivia. I really like her ability to take control stuff. And then the deck that I built around that was very much a discard control type deck. Kind of like the Airboss deck that I saw, only without the speed type effect. And then it got a really cool, paper cut sub-theme, where, okay, I'm going to play stuff like Skull Cage. It's going to be a bunch of small stuff that I can go ahead and keep moving life totals for, but I can also redirect it at Planeswalkers. So it was a, Planeswalker deck too. Now, playing Planeswalkers that I could actually. Now, granted, she needs a lot of retuning now that it's been a little while since I played her, on store and everything like that. But I still have every intention of playing old Olivia. Now, with that said, I could see myself playing if I wanted to go for a much more aggro type attack. Olivia's a knight. That's really cool. So if I was going to change commanders, it would just be 2D. As it is, though, I like just fine. I like that style. It's a little different than, what some of my other decks want, and that's okay. Alright, guys. So any other final thoughts or opinions on Olivia as we go forward?
Both of them are really good. Both of them are very powerful commanders in their own rights. Both of them can easily be used, and I would not have an issue with anyone playing either or as their commander. It's just, right now it's just kind of like trying to choose between like your favorite chocolate or your favorite style of chocolate. Either way you look at it, it's still chocolate. Whether you like white chocolate or dark chocolate or milk chocolate, doesn't really matter. All of them are still pretty good. And in this particular case, you have 2 cards that are really good. They just happen to be slightly different flavors of what they actually are.
I don't know. I think it's more
they just
like trying to
happen to have.
I think it's more like trying to compare like chocolate chip versus chocolate donut. Like they're both chocolate, but they're different styles. More like these are styles.
Okay, I could see that, I guess. But I prefer my chocolate scenario because, you know, it's the same creature. All I'm doing is changing a little bit here. And things have changed. Ain't really too much.
I actually did.
But hey, that's my choice. You got something else you want to add there, Clay? I said you got something else you want to add there, Clay?
They are both fantastic cards. I think it's kind of to compare them, just because the thing that's similar about them is that Thunder costed for you and they have the same name. But from that, there's not that much similar.
No, they're really not. But they are the same character canon. So it's kind of fun to see, you know, what they were doing originally, what they're doing, you know? Although
Yeah.
I will say, I do like the theory that Olivia just apparently has a fear of the ground, because you never see her touching the ground in any sort of art.
I had not noticed.
Yeah. Alright, so with that being said, guys, I still don't necessarily trust this recording equipment, even though it's this recording. So we're going to go ahead and take this straight to
No, what was that he said he had, no, Clay said he had not noticed?
that Olivia...
Apparently,
yeah.
Olivia doesn't touch the ground.
No, she doesn't. That third leg did once, but not her.
There's no third.
Just like there is no Olivia. There is no... And... Alright, so this has been CommanderCast episode 247. I want to go ahead and thank both y'all for coming out today. Calvin, thanks for being here.
No problem. It's been a pleasure coming out doing another episode of CommanderCast for our listening audience.
And Clay, thank you here for this and not dying in rainstorm.
Yeah.
Yay! We kept our panda for the whole show.
I'd also prefer not to die in the storm.
Yay, no dying. Alright then. So guys, at this point, that time again, we're going to go ahead and pass out the contact information. So Calvin, if people want to reach you, how can they do that?
But if people want to reach out and contact the captain, it's very simple to do. My name is Calvin. I'm also known as Captain Red Zone around the internet. So if you want to find me, go over to Twitter at Captain Red Zone. Or you can hit me up in email in Gmail at CaptainRedZone@gmail.com. Or you can go over to CommanderCast Facebook page. Hit up stuff over there. I'm an admin over there. Will's an admin over there. Clay's an admin over there. Admins all over that bit. Or if you don't want to do that, you just want to, hear the sounds of our voice, you can do it through iTunes, or you can do it through Stitcher. That's right, Apple users. That's right, Android users. You can listen to us however it is that best suits you. And if you want to contact us here at CommanderCast.com, that's also easy. It's at CommanderCast on Twitter, or hit us up in an email and Gmail at CommanderCast@gmail.com. Don't forget to swing by the Patreon site, and if you happen to be an iTunes user, go down there and leave a comment on our show and give us a 5-star review. We will read it off live on air, or semi-live on air, because, it's live to us, but it's off air to you, I guess. But if if you haven't heard it before, it's new to you, damn it. So, William, do we have any new 5-star reviews for this week?
I'm going to get back to you in that in just a second. I've been trying to load this up for like the past 5 minutes, and it's just
Without
now
his
loading up.
computer exploding. So while that's loading up, if you want to help us out here at the site, you want to keep the show going, you want to do something for us, financially speaking, it's simple. You can go over to patreon.com/CommanderCast and look us up, and you'll find us over there. And we have a Patreon. Our first tier is just a tip for you listeners who only want to give us a tip. Just a tip at $1. You can slip that tip in there. But if a little extra happens to slip in, we're not going to complain. And a little bit extra has its own tier. That's $2 tier. And at $3, you, listeners, could then have us pick a topic. Do you think the topics on this particular episode were bad or amazing, and you feel as though you can improve them, or you want us to talk about something even worse? Go right ahead. Throw $3 into that jar and to let us know, hey, you jerk, I'm giving you $3. Go ahead and talk about Homelands again for the next hour and a half, and we'll do it.
Oh, God.
We'll hate doing it, but we'll do it. We'll do it for the money. Because there's certain listeners out there that hate us, and I would love for a listener that hates us to tell us to talk about something that they know that we would hate and find enjoyment out of it. Because you know what, it's worth it. It helps keep the site going.
So,
and then in the Patreon, we have a few other things there too. So
Calvin, we need to get Clay's contact.
I was buying time so you could get your thing to come up.
Well, why don't we let Clay buy us time by letting us ask him what the contact nation is, jerk?
Well, if that was the case, you could have had him go first.
Well.
Because you know that I go into this long spiel when I do it.
Well, maybe that was my bad.
Yeah, because you stupid. You hear
Hey,
that, listener?
hey,
You could have us argue. You could put $3 in the thing. I want to hear you guys argue for an hour and a half over tomato sauce. We'll do it.
Hey, I may not be smart, but I ain't dumb.
Anyways, you can find me on Twitter and as EDA. Girlfriend and I also have a stream over on Twitch and Alpaca. I should be working on that more this summer once the internet where I am gets upgraded. A couple days ago, apparently everything was on my end. Nothing was actually transmitted, at all. It just said it was loading. Also, if any of our listeners need to be at the Charlotte the weekend where this goes up on the site, it's the weekend of the 20th. I will be there. I will be working side events for the morning Saturday. Then I will be just hanging out for the rest of the weekend. If you want to play some Command, win Star City money tickets in side events, I'm really down for that. Just hit me up on Twitter.
So, first of all, if you want to follow me on the Twitters, I am BlueRam1409. You can also email me, wihernandez@gmail.com. And if you want to meet me at a GP, guess what? Columbus, Ohio will be having one the Friday, June 10th. It's going to be a Legacy, but I don't actually play Legacy. So I'll be playing Commander with everyone who shows
Lucky
up.
bastard.
I mean, maybe I'll have my Legacy deck on Proxy Tank, Turtle Master. Literally everything in Death Attacks is done on this, so I can actually just sit straight. But see, here's the thing. If I don't play Legacy, I'm going to go there, I'm going to play Commander. So if you want to come up, you want to talk, you want to meet, I know that a couple of hosts are actually planning on coming up to Grand Prix. So there'll be a chance to, meet them. Come up to Columbus, yeah, GP Columbus. And then maybe you can buy the Cardi Captain, Roseburg House. Fantastic store, and should check it out. I work it. Now, as far as those 5-star RFQs, we don't have any.
Unfortunate.
But you could have had one. You could have had me one off. But now we're going to go into it, and we're not going to have a 5-star. But shame on us for not making you like us. Whew! You know what? Thanks to everyone here who's at CommanderCast.com. You guys are fantastic. I love you. I love doing this. Music for our show is the X Meets Heavy Metal series by 331 E-Rock. We'll see you next week with more community, strategy, and technology. Until then, let's get it!
Boobs.
Boobs.
I was trying to line so it sounds like he said boobs. I don't know if it's because of lag, but okay. We'll see how it comes across.